this is the conclusion of the, say, first week, day 7 of what I call week 0. It's really not about losing weight this week. It's about just changing one habit. First and foremost, what is your goal? Did you make a goal yet? What is like your long-term goal? How about a weekly goal? What habit do you want to shift? Those are some of the things to start thinking about as you're kind of, say, getting ready for this journey. And even if you don't do it perfect in the first week, that's not what this is about. Now, if you're already trying to do 2 habits in the first week, 3 habits, 4 habits, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna get really difficult, because if you're trying to change all of those and keep them in a line, it's just, I'm not a fan of that. And I'm not saying it won't work, it's just really difficult for a lot of people. And if you watch and follow the Xform series, you're gonna see the habits I already started changing out the gate. I had to, just because, like I said, this is a 1-year journey to get better. This wasn't necessarily, say, you know, just a weight loss thing, or, you know, to be a little bit better. There's more that goes into this. And so if you tune into those, you can maybe see how that's already started, and I've already got the process to where I'm already making my way, and it's been about 4 weeks. I've kind of been able to help, you know, mentally and psychologically kind of separate, you know, myself from my physique, in terms of like not, say, obsessing over it as much. So that's a good thing though, because in terms of Xform, I do want to change my mindset that it is, my physique doesn't define me, and a lot of the habits or maybe obsessions, that I'm able to take those away and just be more balanced. 65% of my clothes don't fit anymore. I had to put them away. They're in a drawer. And unfortunately, after I did Xform last year, I didn't know I would do this series. And I gave away a lot of this stuff, you know, my bigger clothes that I was like, I'm never gonna get in these ever again. And so now I'm down to, like, you know, a few weeks of clothes. It's not very good. So I can't wait to get into the stuff that used to fit a lot better, and that'll come in time. And that's what Apocalypse Diet kind of helped me do, is, you know, kind of put the weight on fast, so it'll come off a little bit easier, because I haven't been here for very long. And that's something I want to talk about too. And a lot of these different, say, weight journeys that you'll follow of people, when you have a base built up, and right now, I've had, you know, comments that, you know, I don't look that fat, you know, I still don't look like I'm that out of shape. And the truth is, it's just a big difference compared to what was 3 months ago. You know, how this will look in 3 months from now is going to be like, wow, that's a pretty big change, but the base is already there. And that's what I didn't realize when I started my first transformations, is that a lot of people that were, say, doing this, and it's for a positive reason, you know, just show weight loss to help and motivate and encourage others. At the same time, I was surprised when I did my first one, I didn't have as much muscle, I was really skinny. I was like, hey, I didn't get the same, not even close to the same results. I just kind of shriveled up. I was like, I kind of wanted to be bigger and muscular, and I didn't realize, you know, that, hey, you know what, it's because there's already a base there. It's been there for decades. I'll look a lot different than my other transformations, because I've already built the base up and it's still there. And I've still been training over the last, say, you know, 3 months. Been doing a little bit of cardio, not a lot. I pulled walks away, but I'm still training. I'm still holding my muscle, but I was training at a lot less intensity. That's the big difference. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want to take it completely off and come back and get injured. That's generally what happens if you take time off, or you haven't done anything, or when you have maybe that mindset where I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna kill it, the injury happens. And it's happened to me many years ago. Last year I did take a small break, say before the Xform series, and so I was able to, say, look maybe a little more flat, a little more flabby, but I also used, say, alcohol to gain that weight, and it came off kind of fast. Something that is really important in the very first week, and that was bringing back my walk. And you'll see these headphones, and it's something that, you know, I take them with me as I go through a recap. You can kind of see, you know, some of the things I'm thinking every day and how I split it or change it. What I'm really hoping is that you're getting value from this, getting ideas, ways to make change, different ways to change. And it's not always about, say, weight loss. And being healthier has so many different definitions. It's the body, mind, and soul. I'm gonna keep saying that, because those, in my opinion, are the 3 areas that are, say, kind of come together, and they all kind of play on each other. And it's really important to be mindful of that as you're going through this, and seeing that, how, you know, the trade-offs, and as you just shift different habits, what changed in all those realms. So those are things you need to be thinking about. Day 1, I'm on my daily walk. Feels great to be back out. Brings a smile to my face. Just something I was really looking forward to. Not that I didn't walk any of the last, say, few months, just minimize it so I wouldn't be, you know, fighting against the grain, and, you know, I was just trying to put weight on. Really what I'm focused on is specifically just kind of getting back the advantages I had with my walk. And today I had a message about, you know, leadership, generosity, and humility. So what I need to hear for today. My diet and nutrition is pretty much the same. As a matter of fact, usually what I call day 0 or the day before, most people have that last cheat meal, right? That last indulgence or temptation. And technically no foods I'm forbidden to eat. I have whatever I want. And how to stay in a calorie deficit? Well, there's a number of ways to do it, and you'll see that as I go through, but it's kind of helped me with minimizing that, say, fixation on food and certain things that, you know, are going to create eating disorders and things like that. This week I won't specifically be trying to say lose weight. Really, that's not my point. It's just not to gain anymore. Weight loss isn't going to start till next week when I actually bring back in a habit I kind of need most, and that's counting calories. And that's going to help me with, say, the slow drop, making sure I keep the calories up. A little ways to go, but done this journey before. So if you're brand new to this, oftentimes, you know, it's an encouraging thing to get started. Keep yourself positive. We're going to talk about a number of things going on throughout the week that I'm reflecting on, the mental tactics, let's say strategies, and some of my foods. Trying to change your nutrition this week, you can go watch the Endless series where I cover a lot of my philosophy and a lot of the different ways and tips you can get started and start learning how to use a food scale and track food and be mindful of the things you're eating and mindful of your lifestyle and just trying to incorporate something that could stick forever. That's what you're kind of seeking out, and it takes time to do. I'll build all these habits one at a time over a number of weeks, and then when we get towards the end, we'll come look back and see the changes. That's really the most exciting part, is looking back. But in the journey, most people see where it's more difficult and the challenges, and I kind of embrace those because that's what makes me grow as a person and able to hopefully, you know, help others out and see by living it out. So yeah, day 2, if you're still going, congratulations. Most of the time, I would say there's a lot of people have already dropped off by day 2. They tried one day and it didn't work. If you had 100 people with the intentions of losing weight, being healthier this year, 25 of them already fell off. So you're part of 75% of that crowd left. I find it fairly true based on my observations and how people stick with this and how long they stay in this game. So, and just getting that daily walk in, good message I just heard about, you know, changing the way you think and how to reformulate thoughts and beliefs and how it translates into changing behavior. So good stuff. Something that's kind of hard to decipher in some senses as you're getting started, or maybe you've been going, but how do you know if the habits you're changing are, say, good for you or healthy? And how do you know what's too much suffering? Because I never say there's no suffering in this journey. I say minimize it. And by that, I mean, sometimes there's going to be areas of discomfort. Things are going to be difficult. They're going to be hard. But usually at the end of the day, there has to be some sort of benefit from it. And that's how you kind of know. So if you're doing something and you're not reaping any reward from it, then that's kind of the way to kind of gauge whether it's something that's going to be good for you. Now, I have a workout today, which is going to be interesting. I know that it's hard in the moment, but as I watch the results from all that hard work, that's actually what makes it the most rewarding. Say other things that I know, like let's suppose just switching to all nutrient dense foods and eating clean, right? Yeah, is it gonna give me a benefit? But it wasn't worth that benefit because it's so unsustainable and something that I find tremendously difficult. So that's kind of one way of knowing. Now, same thing too with my meals. I have a balance in there. So some are good, some are all right. And when you kind of total it all up, I'm still in a positive place. All right, so here we are, day 3, daily walk. And something that most people aren't even gonna consider, and something I do when I get to say this weight, which is a lot more body fat, 20+%, it's an advantage. And for me specifically, it's an opportunity to put on muscle. And I just know that when I'm leaner, my body will not, it just refuses to. Usually what happens is when I get to say this state, what's the first thing I do is I start to say I need to lose body fat. So I work really hard and I do a lot of cardio and try and pull it off. So it's pretty much, for me, being at this, say, physique, I'm gonna probably focus more on building muscle and less, say, cardio, say, get a little bit bigger. And I might be able to build muscle at this physique, but can I keep it as I lean out? I don't know. Something I've never really tried. So I'm gonna try that in the process like always. So with Xform is the first time I've lost it a little bit slower, and I noticed I was able to keep, say, a bigger physique because I went a little bit slower. And in my very first cut, when I was 32 years old, I cut the weight so fast. Say it was like, man, I think it was like 30 pounds in 3.5 months, maybe 4 months. And I probably stripped away 10 pounds of muscle, and I was just very skinny. And then I started building body dysmorphia about being skinny, not having size. So it's one of those things that I've learned over time. It's a process. And that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna see the advantage of this size over the next few weeks and really put more, say, attention into slow contractions and really trying to fill the muscle and try to stretch it and just see, you know, if it helps. All right, so here we are, day 6 walk's all done, but it's much later in the day. First thing you might be thinking about is the weekend. And so that's one thing that comes up for a lot of people, is how the plans can change. And specifically for me, errands, running the kids around, plans, busy. And today has just been one of those days where it was really difficult to get my walk in, like, let's say, in order to have enough time to do it in the middle of the day when the weather was nice. So it was a little cool when I went out, but it was just something I decided I gotta get this in, and it's all done, so that's good. But at the same time, my day is far from over, but that's okay, because you know what? We have tomorrow to hopefully get some little bit more rest, get our walk in tomorrow, and that's a full week done. So that's really the goal. It wasn't about losing weight. It wasn't about, just changing things right away, just getting that walk in, making that the priority, even though I had other life priorities, right? So just kind of making it fit the schedule and thinking about when to get it in, because honestly, I'm tired. I've been driving around most of the day, at least 4.5 hours behind the wheel. So look forward to tomorrow, recap everything, get some pictures, and then see how this first week kind of panned out, get some thoughts on that. And then, so I'll see you then in the next video. Got the scale measurement. I'm gonna do these pictures in my waist, and then we'll be good to go for today. So let's kind of wrap this up and give you kind of a forecast of what's gonna be coming for next week. And that's specifically gonna be with my calorie tracking, because if I am gonna lose weight and I am gonna get leaner, it's an advantage. And so the one thing we'll talk about next week is saying getting a tracking system or starting a tracking system, how to use it, why it's an advantage, how much to use it, is it something that you need? And if you follow the Xform series and kind of see what I did with that habit, it's gonna be maybe a little bit shocking or a little bit different, just because there was another reason, with calorie tracking, how it's impacted me over time, and something I had to change mentally. So I'm here with my sister-in-law, a very smart person, got her own business. Dr. Ravago is an amazing dentist, by the way, and got a lot going for her. Tell me a little bit about how you got into health and fitness and how it all started.
Sports has always been a part of my life and my family. And I've always kind of had a stockier build. And so I think I had to kind of watch what I was eating and make sure I stayed active. And that's something that also has changed over time. When I was younger, it was just like go for a run. As I got older, like my knees, body parts stopped feeling as good when I did that. And so my workouts changed over time, and I'm always like reading things and watching stuff. And so I started putting more emphasis on building muscle. Just getting older, you don't maintain the same amount of muscle as easily. So I went into lifting weights a little more diligently. I mean, I liked some of the results, but I didn't love all of the results. Of course, I like being stronger. I don't like looking stronger.
This is probably the most busy parent I know. I don't know how she does everything, getting her kids everywhere, running a business, getting the house cleaned up.
Always challenging for anybody to find the will to work out or to make healthier foods. But I have 2 younger kids, a son who's out of the house, and I own my own practice, and my husband works over the road. So I think the biggest challenge is getting everything that my kids need and everything I want in fitting everything in a day. So the amount of time I have to dedicate to it is by far the biggest challenge. When you're younger, it's kind of all about you. Well, for people without, a family they're taking care of, to find the time to work out. Reasonable. I just don't have the option to go to the gym at a set time with the girls' practices and I don't know, work demands and things like that. It just isn't. It's just not where I am right now. Before the pandemic, I went to Turning Point, a great gym here, and I really liked going to that gym. I think Steve is really knowledgeable and really good at focusing on what your goals are and helping you hit those goals. So it felt very much like a part of a community, which was also nice. I mean, there's ownership there, and just kind of enjoying the people that you see when you go work out. I loved that. Of course, when the pandemic hit, not only did I stop generating an income, but also it wasn't, we didn't know what was going on as far as kind of exposing yourself to germs. And so I stopped going to that gym and started working out at home. As life is, you have a little gap and that gets filled in. And currently I'm just doing at-home workouts, which tend to be more lighter weights, higher reps, like muscle fatigue. lose weight, just to feel better about how I look. That's always my goal, but my focus is a little bit different. Happiness, obviously is kind of from the inside. I mean, you eat something that's not good for you, it makes you feel cruddy. I think focusing on eating healthy because it makes me feel good and working out because it makes me feel good, as opposed to eating healthy and working out so I can lose weight.
Thanks for being on. Appreciate you, Dr. Ravago.
Easy.
It's always a pleasure. So we'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Peace out.